Okay, yeah, Katie, one thing that we should also see, Mark is right, the midterms right now look ugly unless the Republicans really get serious.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Laura Ingraham, folks, even she is sounding the alarm. This is the Fox host that they thought was best equipped to maintain a forced smile as Trump gloated about the White House decor that Liberace would think is a little much.
A lot of people are wondering which child would be the best.
In a certain way, they all could. Take a look at this, fellas. You want to see detail. So, like this sign. Most people would just do a sign, they paint it on the wall. So that's half-inch thick bronze, carved by a very talented person. And it's brass, it's pure brass. It's half-inch thick brass. And you can't just do that. That's, you look at that, that's quality, right? And then we start with George Washington and we go down to Trump. Pretty cool, right?
During a segment last night on the Ingraham Angle, Fox host Laura Ingraham delivered a startling verdict that is bound to cause some issues in the White House. She said Republicans have to get serious ahead of the 2026 midterm elections or it could, quote, look ugly.
Okay. Yeah, Katie, one thing that we should also see, Mark is right, the midterms right now look ugly unless the Republicans really get serious. And
her remarks came amid a wave of Democratic-leaning wins this fall, victories that many analysts believe point to growing voter dissatisfaction under Trump's stewardship.
I'm not going for it. It's just not the narrative of what election night was. We'll see what happens in Seattle. Jay Jones was pulled over the finish line because Abigail Spanberger won by an amount that we haven't seen since JFK was president. The Republicans ran a terrible candidate who couldn't even get Donald Trump to endorse her or spend time with her, and that's what ends up happening. Also, voters have seen how Donald Trump has behaved since he came down that golden escalator. They want to win. They saw Jay Jones as someone who said, I am ashamed. They saw that Todd Gilbert, who he sent those text messages about, accepted his apology. And what's really interesting is the woman who leaked the text messages, who was running for her seat, she's a Virginia delegate, she lost her race, but Jay Jones won. This was a complete repudiation of Donald Trump and the Republican Party. And if you want to pick and choose which candidates you focus on, that's your business. But Democrats are running as a big tent party. And AOC said that. She was interviewed on election night. And she said, no one is saying that Mamdani should run in Virginia, and no one should say that Spanberger should be running in New York City. We're accepting of all of this, and it is the way that we will not only take the majority back,
a quick check. I mean, you say
not just on the elections last month that saw Democrats flipping seats in deep red territory, but as I recently covered on air, the local level victories that Democrats seem to be winning, like school board seat flips, which signify a broader shift away from the MAGA style of politics that has simply plagued the country.
So we've got some big news. Republicans are in panic right now as Democrats are now sweeping school board elections across the country. And it's all part of this growing backlash to the right-wing culture wars that have hijacked public education over these past few years. Parents are done, voters are done, and the results are clearly showing it.
The last few years, conservatives have dominated the Cy-Fair ISD Board of Trustees. But after yesterday's election, it shows that the community wants something different. This is a look at the soon-to-be sworn-in Cy-Fair ISD School Board Trustees, the three winning election night against another trio known as NRG. Natalie Blessingame, Riddell Walker, and George Edwards, pictured here with Governor Greg Abbott in the days before the election.
What those conservative candidates really needed was for Governor Abbott's message to get out explicitly that he was backing them.
What does that say, that the governor was here, didn't wholeheartedly endorse any candidate?
I think the governor was reluctant probably to wade in directly into this race to tie himself explicitly to these three candidates. The governor does good polling, so maybe he had an idea that they might not do as well as they had expected, or he was just reluctant to get tied into a local level race.
Jones says this outcome could impact future school board elections. A Cy-Fair ISD parents behind a popular Facebook group page concerned about librarian firing says she's getting calls from people in neighboring districts.
They are very hopeful that we are seeing a tide changing, that we want to keep these politics out of schools and really support our teachers and support our kids.
I mean, when Fox, right, are showing decline in their own polls, a network that has long served as a protective echo chamber for Trump-aligned politics, it's clear that there's an issue that the GOP should be paying attention to.
But the issue of affordability, the issue of how people feel about the economy popping up in our latest polls, personal financial situation now, excellent, good, 40%, only fair or poor, 60%. You can see that changing from July. Condition of the U.S. economy, also a perception totally upside down, 76 to 25, and that changing a bit. And then economic conditions for the nation and you personally, again, 25% positive, 76 negative for the nation, and then 60-40 personally.
But it suggests that Republican voters are recognizing internal vulnerability. And as I've mentioned before, you can't lie or it's all fake news your way out of prices going up and people's wallets feeling light. If anything, you'd think that Trump would recognize that, considering the economy and prices. These are areas that he has performed well in the past two elections. But the more he continues to deny and deflect from the very reality that the American people are facing at the moment, that prices for groceries, houses, utilities, and everyday expenses are up sharply under this current administration, then the more incompetent he looks.
And we're looking at right now on our screen, I don't know if you can see it, just the increase in beef prices, for ground beef or steaks, et cetera. Everyone who goes to the grocery store knows that that's happening.
Prices are up in the United States. For coffee, it's up almost 20%. Utility, up 11.7%. And then electricity is up 5.1%. And vehicle repair, if you need your car fixed, it's up 11.5%.
And Bill, I think, we can show our viewers on the chart, really the heart of what Vice President Vance is talking about is this fact that you do have inflation. You can see on this chart here, inflation outpacing wage growth for lower and middle class income. What do you make of it?
Well, I think the vice president was right. I think somewhere in that interview, he said the Democrats are right that it's a crisis of affordability.
Look, they're all in red. They're all in the negative territory. But on immigration, he's 5 points underwater. Foreign policy, 8 points. Trade and tariffs, he's 17 points. The economy, 18 points. But look at the Epstein case. He is 39 points below water on the Epstein case. His net approval is 39 points in the negative. My goodness gracious. What Donald Trump has been selling on the Epstein files, the Epstein case, the American people, simply put, have not been buying at all, Sarah Seidner.
As mentioned, a new Fox poll shows that a majority of voters, even watching their network, now view the economy as, quote, poor or getting worse. And only 38% say they approve of how Trump is handling the economy. That combination, right? Rising prices, falling approval. It isn't just bad news for Trump. It's a recipe for political collapse if this trend is to continue into 2026. And Laura Ingraham's warning that it could be ugly is pretty tame compared to what the recent Marquette polling suggests is to happen next year.
This is a poll that came out yesterday, Marquette University Law School poll, and I don't think it picked up enough coverage that it should have, because these numbers should be truly frightening to Republicans. Why do I point it out? Why do I say that? Okay, Dems versus Republicans on the generic congressional ballot. If you look at all voters, this matches the average. You see Democrats up by 5 points. Okay, that's not a bad position, but it's not as strong as they were in the 2018 cycle at this point. But come over to this side of the screen. This is where it gets truly frightening for the GOP, because among those certain to vote, look at this. The Democratic advantage nearly doubles. We're talking about a 9-point advantage going from 5 to 9 points. And this matches with what we're seeing in other polls, which is huge Democratic enthusiasm, huge. And more than that, remember, elections are not just about persuasion. They're about turnout as well. And what this suggests is Democrats are far more likely to turn out at this point. A 9-point advantage going from 5 to 9. That is A+. I went back, okay, party more certain to vote by party identification. Early cycle midterm polls. Look at this. In 2006, Republicans said they were more likely to turn out. 2010, 2014, 2018, 2022. And then all of a sudden in the 2026 cycle, look at this. Democrats are the ones who say they're more likely to turn out and vote.
It could be a complete nightmare for this administration.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.